Welcome to the first session of the online Permagarden Foundations course. What is a Permagarden? The Permagarden Foundations course includes 9 sessions. We will begin with this introduction session to Permagardens, followed by a session describing how Permagardens contribute to household resilience. The next 3 sessions will explore the building blocks of a Permagarden: water, soil, and biodiversity. Then, we will conclude with sessions that detail the 4-step cyclical process to develop and maintain a Permagarden: observe, design, implement, and monitor. Throughout the course, there will be illustrations and animations that help to visualize the technical concepts, along with supplemental materials that provide additional resources. Now, let's get started. This session provides an introduction to the Permagarden approach. In order to understand what a Permagarden is and how it can be used, we are going to first look at some of the typical challenges encountered in home garden programs. We will then look at how Permagardens can help address these issues and review the minimum standards needed to create a Permagarden. Explore the supplemental materials on the course webpage to find additional resources.
Many emergency and development programs promote home garden initiatives. These initiatives have many different objectives. Some try to improve food and nutrition security through household-level production of fruits and vegetables. Others aim to increase household income, assuming the home gardens will produce a surplus of produce to sell. And others promote certain agronomic practices in the hopes of generating a positive environmental outcome. However, these programs often fail to achieve their objectives. Let's look at some examples of what tends to happen. These home gardens in arid regions of Africa were started by projects intending to increase dry season production, but no efforts were made to put strategies in place that would build soil fertility, protect the plants from intense heat and sun, or provide water to plants during intermittent droughts. As a result, the gardens did not produce much, especially during critical hungry and dry seasons. Many home gardens fail to focus on proper water management, which can dramatically lower production or result in crop failure during dry seasons or mid-season droughts. It can also exacerbate soil erosion problems if rainfall is left to wash through gardens unchecked. Instead of focusing on effectively managing the freely available rainfall, many programs promote technical inputs like irrigation equipment that use water from boreholes, streams, or ponds. However, water from these sources may or may not be reliable throughout the year, accessible to all households, and of decent quality. In addition, irrigation equipment can be financially difficult for many households, prone to breaking, and needs periodic replacement to remain effective. This means it is often not a viable option for many households after a project cycle ends. As a result, we often see technical inputs provided by projects abandoned and not replaced. As another example, many programs promote agriculture techniques such as this keyhole garden, but often fail to teach basic soil and water management alongside it. These techniques are showcased at demonstration sites like this one in Eastern Africa. Households then attempt to replicate the garden as seen here, using the resources and knowledge at their disposal. However, without appropriate technical guidance and access to the materials used at the demonstration site, the gardens often fail. When programs focus on introducing external inputs or agriculture techniques that may not be appropriate for the context, they can miss opportunities to increase production using just what is freely available. Here is another keyhole bed promoted by another program. There are many missed opportunities here. There are no efforts to incorporate the chicken manure next to the bed to build soil fertility. Instead, the bed is built with poor soil, and the compost hole in the middle fails to provide nutrients for the whole bed. Rainwater is not being captured. Rather, it is being directed away from the bed. In addition, the high sides of the bed are allowing even more soil moisture to evaporate. The only option to provide these crops with water is to hand water. Despite increasing their labor to build this bed, the household is not seeing any additional returns in terms of food production. So instead of seeing gardens that contribute to a project's goal to increase food and nutrition security, improve environmental outcomes, or generate income, we often see gardens that are struggling or abandoned after a program ends. Why is this? Well, many home garden projects fail to address the fundamental reasons for low garden productivity in the first place: poor garden design, infertile soils, and a lack of consistent access to water. Typically, the following key components are missing from home garden projects: effective water management strategies, particularly strategies for dry season production, a focus on building healthy soils, and context-specific technical guidance for households that prioritizes locally available resources. So what then is the approach we need to support households to improve their production and stabilize their income and food production throughout the year without costing them significant amounts of time, money, and labor? The Permagarden Approach was developed as a response to the typical challenges faced by home garden projects. It focuses on water management, building healthy soils with local resources, and strengthening local capacity. Through a design process that creates a design specific to each site, the Permagarden Approach makes efficient use of available resources to ensure consistent production all year round, even in the smallest of spaces. The Permagarden Approach is more than a basic vegetable garden. It promotes intensive production all around the compound and encourages incorporation of trees and animals. Permagardens have been successfully implemented across Africa, Asia, Europe, and North America in a diversity of climates, from areas with abundant rainfall to very arid areas. Permagardens have also proven to be a useful approach in difficult contexts, such as this refugee camp in an arid part of northern Uganda that is experiencing environmental degradation and shrinking food rations. This is a picture of a compound before the implementation of a permagarden, and this is the same compound 9 months later. In order for a permagarden to be called a permagarden, there are 8 core minimum standards that should be met. These include community-led, resources, design, water, soil health, biodiversity, protection, and adaptation. The permagarden process is led by households themselves, uses locally available resources, has a context-specific design, has multiple water management strategies, builds healthy living soils, cultivates biodiversity, protects the soil and plants, and is constantly being observed and adapted by households to improve productivity. These standards were developed because many organizations would choose to adopt only 1 or 2 of the permagarden practices and leave the rest. All of the minimum standards are essential to ensure a permagarden is successful and functions as a permagarden. In the following sessions of the course, you will explore in more detail what it means practically to ensure these minimum standards are met. You can learn more about the minimum standards in the Permagarden Technical Checklist Guidance found in the Supplemental Materials section of this session on the course webpage. Now, you have a better idea of what a permagarden is. Let's take a moment to reflect and answer the following question. How can a permagarden approach help address some of the typical challenges you have seen in home garden projects? If you are taking this course by yourself, write your thoughts in a notebook. If you are working as part of a group, take the opportunity to discuss the question together. Pause the video while you work.
In conclusion, the Permagarden approach can help address the typical challenges seen in home garden projects by strengthening local capacity to integrate agricultural practices that improve soil, water, and biodiversity, using a context-specific and community-led design, protecting soil and plants, and encouraging households to continuously adapt their gardens in ways that will improve productivity. That completes the learning for Session 1. What is a permagarden? Now, let's continue to Session 2, how permagardens contribute to household resilience.